Learn English from Quotes Peter Drucker. The most important thing in communication is to hear what isn't being said. The problem in my life and other people's lives is not the absence of knowing what to do, but the absence of doing it. Entrepreneurship is neither a science nor an art. It is a practice. The best way to predict the future is to create it. Management is doing things right, leadership is doing the right things. The aim of marketing is to know and understand the customer so well the product or service fits him and sells itself. Follow effective action with quiet reflection. From the quiet reflection will come even more effective action. Unless commitment is made, there are only promises and hopes, but no plans. Plans are only good intentions unless they immediately degenerate into hard work. The only thing we know about the future is that it will be different. The productivity of work is not the responsibility of the worker but of the manager. Making good decisions is a crucial skill at every level. No institution can possibly survive if it needs geniuses or supermen to manage it. It must be organized in such a way as to be able to get along under a leadership composed of average human beings. People who don't take risks generally make about 2 big mistakes a year. People who do take risks generally make about 2 big mistakes a year. Effective leadership is not about making speeches or being liked. Leadership is defined by results, not attributes. The most efficient way to produce anything is to bring together under one management as many as possible of the activities needed to turn out the product. Trying to predict the future is like trying to drive down a country road at night with no lights while looking out the back window. We now accept the fact that learning is a lifelong process of keeping abreast of change. And the most pressing task is to teach people how to learn. Checking the results of a decision against its expectations shows executives what their strengths are, where they need to improve, and where they lack knowledge or information. Company cultures are like country cultures. Never try to change one. Try, instead, to work with what you've got. Efficiency is doing things right, effectiveness is doing the right things. Rank does not confer privilege or give power. It imposes responsibility. Knowledge has to be improved, challenged, and increased constantly, or it vanishes. The purpose of a business is to create a customer. The entrepreneur always searches for change, responds to it, and exploits it as an opportunity. There is nothing so useless as doing efficiently that which should not be done at all. Peter Drucker quote, "Efficiency is doing things right." Management by objective works, if you know the objectives. 90% of the time you don't. Time is the scarcest resource, and unless it is managed, nothing else can be managed. Accept the fact that we have to treat almost anybody as a volunteer. Doing the right thing is more important than doing the thing right. If you want something new, you have to stop doing something old. What gets measured gets improved. Results are gained by exploiting opportunities, not by solving problems. Long-range planning does not deal with the future decisions, but with the future of present decisions. Meetings are a symptom of bad organization. The fewer meetings the better. Leadership is not magnetic personality, that can just as well be a glib tongue. It is not making friends and influencing people that is flattery. Leadership is lifting a person's vision to higher heights, the raising of a person's performance to a higher standard, the building of a personality beyond normal limitations. The better a man is, the more mistakes he will make, for the more things he will try. One cannot buy, rent or hire more time. The supply of time is totally inelastic. No matter how high the demand, the supply will not go up. There is no price for it. Time is totally perishable and cannot be stored. Yesterday's time is gone forever, and will never come back. Time is always in short supply. There is no substitute for time. Everything requires time. All work takes place in, and uses up time. Yet most people take for granted this unique, irreplaceable, and necessary resource. Time is the scarcest resource of the manager. If it is not managed, nothing else can be managed. What you have to do and the way you have to do it is incredibly simple. Whether you are willing to do it, that's another matter. The three most charismatic leaders in this century inflicted more suffering on the human race than almost any trio in history: Hitler, Stalin, and Mao. What matters is not the leader's charisma. What matters is the leader's mission. No one learns as much about a subject as one who is forced to teach it. Whenever you see a successful business, someone once made a courageous decision. The leaders who work most effectively, it seems to me, never say I. And that's not because they have trained themselves not to say I. They don't think I. They think we, they think team. They understand their job to be to make the team function. They accept responsibility and don't sidestep it, but we gets the credit. This is what creates trust, what enables you to get the task done. Business has only two functions: marketing and innovation. Strategy is a commodity, execution is an art. A person can perform only from strength. One cannot build performance on weakness, let alone on something one cannot do at all. History has been written not by the most talented but by the most motivated. Successful leaders don't start out asking, "What do I want to do?" They ask, "What needs to be done?" Then they ask, "Of those things that would make a difference, which are right for me?" The greatest danger in times of turbulence is not the turbulence, it is to act with yesterday's logic. Do not believe that it is very much of an advance to do the unnecessary 3 times as fast. The most serious mistakes are not being made as a result of wrong answers. The true dangerous thing is asking the wrong question. Entrepreneurship is risky mainly because so few of the so-called entrepreneurs know what they are doing. Managers are action-focused, they are not philosophers and should not be. Cultivate a deep understanding of yourself, not only what your strengths and weaknesses are but also how you learn, how you work with others, what your values are, and where you can make the greatest contribution. Because only when you operate from strengths can you achieve true excellence. The only skill that will be important in the 21st century is the skill of learning new skills. Everything else will become obsolete over time. It's amazing how many things busy people are doing that never will be missed. If you have more than 5 goals, you have none. To make the future demands courage. It demands work. But it also demands faith. There are 2 types of people in the business community, those who produce results and those who give you reasons why they didn't. The critical question is not how can I achieve, but what can I contribute? You cannot prevent a major catastrophe, but you can build an organization that is battle-ready, where people trust one another. In military training, the first rule is to instill soldiers with trust in their officers, because without trust, they won't fight. Every time you do something that is important, write down what you expect will happen. As a manager, you're paid to be uncomfortable. If you're comfortable, it's a sure sign you're doing things wrong. There is the risk you cannot afford to take, and there is the risk you cannot afford not to take. To make a living is no longer enough. Work also has to make a life. To succeed in this new world, we will have to learn, first, who we are. Few people, even highly successful people, can answer the questions, do you know what you're good at? Do you know what you need to learn so that you get the full benefit of your strengths? Few even ask themselves these questions. Adequacy is the enemy of excellence. Brilliant men are often strikingly ineffectual. They fail to realize that the brilliant insight is not by itself achievement. They never have learned that insights become effectiveness only through hard systematic work. Replace your pursuit of success with the pursuit of contribution. There are just 2 questions to ask to attain success in business. First, what business am I in? Second, how's business? Effective people are not problem-minded, they're opportunity-minded. They feed opportunities and starve problems. They think preventively. Don't try to innovate for the future. Innovate for the present. The customer rarely buys what the company thinks it's selling. We live in an age of unprecedented opportunity. If you've got ambition and smarts, you can rise to the top of your chosen profession, regardless of where you started out. Peter Drucker quote, "If you want something new, you have to stop doing something old." The most effective way to manage change is to create it. Education gives you neither experience nor wisdom. Elephants have a hard time adapting. Cockroaches outlive everything. Customers pay only for what is of use to them and gives them value. Nothing else constitutes quality. It takes far less energy to move from first-rate performance to excellence than it does to move from incompetence to mediocrity. Ideas are like frog eggs, you've got to lay 1,000 to hatch one. Profit is not the purpose of a business, but rather the test of its validity. Everybody has accepted by now that change is unavoidable. But that still implies that change is like death and taxes, it should be postponed as long as possible, and no change would be vastly preferable. But in a period of upheaval, such as the one we are living in, change is the norm. Success. Odd as it seems, you will achieve the greatest results in business and career if you drop the word achievement from your vocabulary and replace it with contribution. You can either take action, or you can hang back and hope for a miracle. Miracles are great, but they are so unpredictable. What the customer buys and considers value is never a product. It is always utility, that is, what a product or a service does for the customer. Most of what you hear about entrepreneurship is all wrong. It's not magic, it's not mysterious, and it has nothing to do with genes. It's a discipline and, like any discipline, it can be learned. You can't manage what you don't measure. Marketing and innovation produce results, all the rest are costs. Never ask who's right. Start out by asking what is right. And you find that out by listening to disagreeing opinions. Look upon every obstacle as part payment towards your success. Great wisdom not applied to action and behavior is meaningless data. Success always obsoletes the very behavior that achieved it. Do not measure your life by your goals but what you are doing to achieve them. Growth that adds volume without improving productivity is fat. Growth that diminishes productivity is cancer. Plans are worthless, but planning is invaluable. To survive and succeed, every organization will have to turn itself into a change agent. Ideas are cheap and abundant. What is of value is the effective placement of those ideas into situations that develop into action. Absolute size by itself is no indicator of success and achievement, let alone of managerial competence. Being the right size is. A success that has outlived its usefulness may, in the end, be more damaging than failure. Replace your pursuit of success with the pursuit of contribution. Leadership is not rank, privileges, title or money. It is responsibility. Our job in life is to make a positive difference, not prove we're right. People who need certainty are unlikely to make good entrepreneurs. No one has ever failed to find the facts they are looking for. If you're not living life on the edge, you're taking up too much space. The best way to predict the future is to create it. The real achiever do one thing at a time. By themselves, character and integrity do not accomplish anything. But their absence faults everything else. Luck never built a business. Prosperity and growth come only to the business that systematically finds and exploits its potential. Do what you do best, and outsource the rest. It is better to pick the wrong priority than none at all. To satisfy the customer is the mission and purpose of every business. Most innovators are successful to the extent to which they define risks and confine them. Keep your eye on the task, not on yourself. The task matters, and you are a servant. Vision without execution is delusion. The joy is in the results. One can either work or meet. One cannot do both at the same time. Defending yesterday is far more risky than making tomorrow. Every success creates new opportunities. So does every failure.